Welcome to GP Bullhound's Tech Thoughts, a weekly overview of economic developments in international markets. Today is the 6th of May, and we are here with Inge Heydorn and Nela Salkovic for our weekly market roundup. In today's episode, they will talk about e-commerce, AMD, semiconductors, and gaming. But first, a market update from Inge. Over to him.
Thank you, Maria. The market is roughly flat this week, but feels much worse given the sharp drop we saw on Thursday. The volatility is also high, which is really scaring investors. The 1Q reporting season is now coming to an end, and our conclusion is really the same as our expectations going into the quarter. Stay with software business to business, stay with semiconductors, and stay away from consumer-focused companies and e-commerce. On the e-commerce side, going in a little bit deeper to that, Thursday was a really bad day with Shopify, Etsy, eBay, Wayfair, all missing on numbers, all guiding down for the full year. Yes, we're coming out from a year of COVID, so very tough comparisons, and thereby it will be tough on the top line for a while. But also, what we also saw in Amazon, and I think across the board, is that a number of vendors has built out quite a lot of capacity to handle growth. So I think they underestimated the COVID effects. One thing we'd like to highlight here is for example, Wayfair, minus 14% year-over-year in sales and 23% down in user base in Q1. Really dreadful numbers. So for us, it's a little bit stay away. There's still overcapacity. They will take a while before we get into growth again and profitability will turn around. On the semiconductor side, and especially AMD, numbers were great across the board. I think all segments at AMD were really healthy and better than expected, even the PC side. But let's start with data centers. Really strong. Embedded systems, really strong. And also the guidance that they expect growth for next year also, which is quite surprising given what we've seen in general terms about the trends in the marketplace. Going over to the PC side, the high end still holding up really well, and on the gaming side, the lower end absolutely weaker on consumer weakness. So in terms of volumes will probably be down 5-10% this year on the PC side, but the value side probably will be more flattish. So not really bad news at this point in time. So ASP for AMD on the CPU side was up 24% year-over-year in Q1. Very impressive. The stock is now trading at 25 times earnings this year, which we don't find aggressive. So it's definitely a stock we added more to in our portfolio. On the semiconductor side, we also saw numbers on ON Semi and NXP. NXP stating now they're sold out for this year and the orders are getting for the next year. So the market is worried about the cycle, while the companies are more worried about capacity and adding capacity to grow long term into 2025 and 2030, given the underlying trend they see with the EV cars, the AI solutions, and so on. In the sector, we also saw a bid from MaxLinear for Silicon Motion on worth $4 billion and mainly in cash. So the consolidation in the industry is also continuing. And if you look at the return on capital invested, it's very high for the moment in the industry. So we can definitely understand how the companies are reacting as they do. And even if we have a small downturn, it wouldn't hurt the profitability at all, as most people in the industry is selling more than they can really produce. So all of them are building the book-to-bill ratio for the moment. Over to you, Nela, and gaming.
All right, so this week we got the announcement that Embracer Group is acquiring Square Enix studios. The announcement states that Embracer Group will gain control over 50 back catalog games associated with Eidos and Crystal Dynamics. For $300 million US, I think this is a steal. The company now have 14,000 employees, 10,000 game developers, 124 internal development and studios, 900 plus owned IPs and franchise, upcoming content pipeline of 230 plus games with 30 plus AAA titles. Very impressive, I would say. Further on, we have a couple of Q1 reports during the week. Paradox had a really good report actually, and seems to have one of the strongest pipelines in Paradox history. Stillfront had a relatively weak report and really needs better figures in the coming quarters, as another quarter with negative organic growth was reported. And while mobile gaming has generally been underperforming during Q1. And going over to G5, who surprised with a really strong report, but however, the low liquidity in the shares remains, which I believe can further affect the share. And lastly, Corsair Gaming reported last night and came out with the quarterly earnings, missing the consensus estimate and reporting a weak guidance. And next week we are looking forward to many more reports in gaming. So thanks for listening and see you next week.